Hello, this is a story for Rayan from Miss Merrill's class. So Rayan, this is a story called Grow Your Own Room, and I thought it was a really imaginative idea. So I hope you enjoy this story. It's called Grow Your Own Room by Anne Harth. Jack lay on his bed. He turned a page. He was at the best part. Harry Hero was dangling from a cliff. A mountain lion stood over him. No! Someone snatched his book away. Come and get it, Jackie! Bert clutched the book and ran from the room. Jack raced after him. "Mom!" he shouted. "Tell him to give it back!" "Bert!" Mum called. "Stop annoying your brother!" Bert threw the book into the kitchen sink and ran back to the bedroom. Jack wiped droplets from his book. "I wish I had my own room," he said. "Oh," Mum sighed. "I wish you did too." Jack wandered outside. Maybe he could find some privacy. He looked around. The garden was bare. A sunflower grew in a large pot near the back fence. At school they had grown sunflowers from seeds. Jack touched the petals. The plant was as tall as him. The flower was bigger than his head. Looks like Jack's got an idea. I wonder if you can think what he might do next. Jack scraped his finger along the middle of the flower. Seeds fell onto the ground. Jack picked them up. The small striped seeds covered his palm. Jack smiled. He had an idea. He found a stick and dug lots of small holes. They were in the shape of a circle. The circle was big enough to sit in. Jack dropped a sunflower seed in each hole. He covered them up with earth and sprinkled them with water. Every morning Jack visited his seeds. He sprinkled them with water. After 3 days, tiny green shoots popped through the ground. They made a bright green circle in the back garden. Jack stood in the middle of it and spun round. "It's going to work," he whispered. Jack watered his plants every day. The shoots grew thicker and taller. They reached Jack's knees. They grew a bit more. They reached Jack's waist. They grew even more. They reached Jack's shoulders. Buds finally appeared at the top of the stems. They grew larger and fatter. One day they burst open. Jack ran upstairs and grabbed a book. He raced into the garden and stepped between 2 sunflower stems. He turned slowly. The stems were thick and green. The sunflowers bobbed towards him and created a shady spot. Jack sat down. The back door slammed open. "Jack!" Bert called. "Where are you?" Jack was still. He opened his book. "Jack!" Bert's voice sounded far away. Jack grinned. He had his own room. He turned a page. Harry Hero was in trouble again. I wonder what happens to Harry Hero. Sounds like a really good book Jack's reading. And that's the end of that story. And how did you like it? An inventive idea to find some privacy. I hope you have a garden. I wonder what interesting things you can design in your garden. So I've got some questions for you. And it's a tricky one, but if you've been paying attention, you could have a good guess. So, how much time passes from the beginning of the story until the end? At the beginning of the story, Jack did not have his own room, and he really wanted to read his storybook. So he popped into the garden, and he had an idea. Now, unless you've done some planting, which you very well may have done some planting at school or at home, I wonder how long it takes for a sunflower to grow. Now, in the beginning, it took 3 days for the shoots of the seeds to appear, and then every day Jack was watering his seeds so that they grew. Now, I'm thinking that sunflower took maybe a month, maybe a bit more, maybe a bit less. I'm not really sure. I've not planted any sunflowers recently. So maybe you could think, it's spring now, it's April, so maybe you could do some planting and experiment with how long it takes to grow something. So that's the answer to the first question. And question 2, when won't Jack be able to enjoy his new room? These are sciencey questions. So, when will his flowers no longer be tall and high in the sky? I wonder what season it would be. So have a think. It could be autumn. They could lose the tree, the sunflower could wither away as the weather gets colder in autumn, and then by winter the sunflower will no longer be alive because it's winter time, and the seeds and the trees and everything sort of has a bit of a sleep. Anyway, so I hope you enjoyed that story, and maybe you can do some planting and enjoy yourself at home with your family. Bye from me.